Welcome back. Welcome back to the morning show here on Tobago Updates Television, and thank you so much for staying with us. We begin conversations this morning by speaking with Councillor Petal-Ann. She's the Secretary of Finance, Trade and the Economy, and we're talking about something very exciting this morning. We're talking about the T.H.A. Loan Guarantee Program launch. Good morning and welcome.
Good morning, Adanna. Good morning to Tobago, to all the listeners this morning. Today is an exciting day for me.
It certainly is, and I'm sure for our viewers as well, because when you hear loan guarantee, you're thinking, ooh, access to funds.
Yes.
But we want to talk about what is this funds for? You know, because sometimes we want to access funds and we're not really accountable and responsible with the funds, right? So we're going to talk a little bit about what the loan is targeted at and who the target audience is and what the benefits, and just go through the whole conversation in terms of the program. So
Dana, let me try to simplify this as best as I can. We are not giving a loan. We are not giving any finance. The commercial banks who have signed up to this program, they will be issuing loans in their normal loan criteria. What we are doing is standing as a guarantor. We have collateral in an account for persons to access. Now, what will happen? First Citizens Bank Trustee Services, they are the administrator of our fund. So we have collaborated with First Citizens as the administrator for the fund. All we are doing is standing guarantee. It's really for registered Tobago businesses to access. They can apply for loans in the commercial bank for maybe repayment of a debt. They want to purchase machinery. They want to scale up. They want to pay off some taxes from the Board of Inland Revenue, any arrears that they may have. It's to purchase inventory. All of these things, they can go to the bank and we just stand as the guarantor. Now, the minimum loan guarantee is $750,000 and we go up to $3 million. And we will not fund in excess of 80% of the loan. So, it's an exciting time for Tobago because, we have offered grants. At BDU, we offer loans, we offer equity financing. This time, we are taking a step back and allowing the banks to continue doing businesses and giving entrepreneurs an opportunity to access the loans from the bank, and we will just stand guarantee. Because sometimes, you have an excellent business idea, you have an excellent craft or skill, but you just don't have any collateral, anything to back the loan. And that is what the T.H.A. will be doing, standing in the gap for Tobagonians. We are allowing the bank to do the business and we just stand as guarantor.
And I didn't know exactly what the details were of the guarantee program, but I like it, and this is why I like it. Sometimes accessing funds is difficult because there's nobody to stand for you.
Yes.
And so the T.H.A. is now coming in to stand there to ensure that, listen, this person is verified, is a registered business, they need the money, give them the money, we'll stand the guarantee. So it's primarily for registered businesses, domiciled in Tobago,
and registered and
operating in Tobago.
Yes.
Right, and I like that because sometimes Tobago businesses feel as if they are left behind, that they aren't always considered, because sometimes some of the programs we have would say Trinidad and Tobago, and it would be fair open market for anybody in Trinidad and Tobago. But I appreciate the fact that this is focused on Tobago businesses. Now, you're saying that the minimum is $750,000. So let's talk about small businesses, because we know in Tobago, most of the businesses are really, really small businesses now trying to come up. And you mentioned the list of things that they can borrow these funds for. In terms of the T.H.A.'s position as standing as a guarantor for the loans, what are the criteria that you're looking for to ensure that you say, listen, I will stand for this person, or I might not have to stand for this person, or they need to come with something more? What is the criteria?
Right. The thing is, we are allowing the banks to continue their criteria. So we are not getting involved in that. I have admonished, I've asked the banks, do not waver, do not compromise your policies on your granting of loans, and we expect that your criteria will continue. One thing I must say though, there's a national loan guarantee program that is directed towards tourism, and it's as a fallout of the COVID-19 pandemic. This loan guarantee program is for any business in Tobago. It's not only the tourism-based businesses, but any business. But remember, it's not as if it's open and you're approved just because you're a Tobagonian. You must go to the bank, and the bank will have their normal lending criteria, or we are doing a standing guarantee. So we are not getting involved. The only thing we are going to tell the banks that we would not want the guarantee or any loans or access to guarantee for is if you have to pay shareholders and you have to pay directors and those type of things. So there are just a few exempt, but basically to scale up your businesses, to advance the businesses, to transform your businesses, to grow your businesses, we are actually going to give you access to some collateral for that purpose.
I like the partnership. Here's why. Because sometimes the bank is independent.
Yes.
So the bank is independent of the T.H.A, so they still have to. Just before you came on, I was speaking with a representative of a financial institution, and of course they have their standards, they have their policies and their guidelines. And so I like the approach. Being there, but having a hands-off approach in terms of get your qualifications from the bank. So the bank now has to approve and determine whether or not they're going to give the individual the loan, the business the loan.
Absolutely. We are not getting involved in that. As I said, after the bank has done their due diligence, then we get involved in that. And we are taking a hands-off approach, really, and we're not getting involved in the process. The other thing, Adanna, is the banks that have signed on to this program, I want to make this very, very clear, that there are only 3 banks so far. But my long-term vision is that credit unions and all the other financial institutions will sign on to this. But right now, we only have Republic Bank signed on, First Citizens Bank and Scotia Bank. Those are the 3. But as I said, the long-term goal, as you see this program flourish and succeed, we'll see more businesses and financial institutions signing on to the program. But right now, those are the 3 that have signed on to the loan guarantee.
And in terms of, as I mentioned before, some of the businesses in Tobago are small businesses, small, possibly medium. I'm not sure if we have large businesses on the island of Tobago. And so the minimum borrowing is, as I mentioned before, $750.
No, not the minimum borrowing. That's how much we will guarantee.
Right.
Yeah,
okay.
That's how much we will guarantee. So it's a minimum of $750 and a maximum of $3 million, up to that amount.
So that clarifies that, because I was coming, I was kind of confused there, but that clarifies it. So the borrower can actually borrow any amount.
Any amount, and it's really the guarantee, the collateral that the bank is asking for. That is what we will stand for the entrepreneur.
Don't you guys think that this is amazing? I mean, the T.H.A is, how much can the government do? Because sometimes we ask so many times, the government isn't doing this and the government isn't doing that. And here we are in a situation where there's some type of relief that is coming for small businesses on the island of Tobago. So, you can access this facility. And I know the launch is taking place very soon, in the next couple of hours. So tell us about that.
Right. So the launch, we are launching it today. The partnership for me is momentous. We have always have very excellent relationships with the banks, and I think this will enhance that. Particularly for Citizens Bank, we do have a close relationship with them. Those are our bankers. But this will also allow us to solidify and enhance the relationship with the other banks. One other thing I forgot to mention, that the loan period is 7 years. So as the loan is repaid, the funds go back into the guarantee fund, and other persons can access. Also, we do intend to top up and increase the guarantee amount in the account every year. We do have an allocation. We have a line item called Loan Guarantee Program. So when the government gives us our parliamentary appropriation, obviously, we will supplement it if it doesn't have sufficient. Because, normally we will ask for a specific amount. We don't get it, and we normally shift funds around. So we intend to do that. Every year we're going to put some monies into the fund. The fund, though, this year starting with $25 million in this fiscal year.
Right. And you mentioned earlier that the national fund was strictly for tourism, and this one is for any industry at all, once registered and operating here on the island.
And the banks, normal. I want to make that clear, because I don't want persons to think because they're Tobago businesses, they are entitled.
Okay.
So it's not really entitlement, it's really a privilege. from the T.H.A that we are offering, and it's really the bank doing the business with the business people of Tobago.
And the bank usually requires that you have your ducks in a row, so you have to have all your documentation, you have to be up to date with.
And they do their due diligence as well. So those criteria will stand, and I am encouraging the banks to continue their robust due diligence practices and policies and procedures when lending to customers.
This is really, really, I must commend again the T.H.A for this effort and all the efforts that they're putting, ensuring that the economy kind of comes back to a place where we feel a little bit more comfortable, because coming out of COVID, I know a lot of people are still struggling. Some have done well and some are still struggling. And so, I commend this opportunity that is now presented to businesses here on the island of Tobago. And I do hope that, you try to access what is made available for us. Those of you who are in business or even trying to start a business. And this is a question I should ask. Is the loan also for somebody? I guess it's not, because you said they have to be registered, a registered business.
Yes, registered.
So it's not a business, and like a business that you just have a business idea and you want to start. It's not for that.
Well, the thing is, I don't know. As I said, it's the banks. They have their criteria. And I expect that they will uphold the highest standards in granting credits to customers. So we're encouraging businesses to get registered. As I said, we are not really getting involved, but we expect that the bank will do what is necessary to ensure that we comply as professional business people in Tobago.
And how does somebody access this facility in terms of the partnership that you now have with these banks?
Really and truly, it's the bank. It's between the bank and us.
Bank. Okay.
So, as I said, 3 banks have signed up with the loan guarantee program. The banks will do their usual, and then they will, through the trustee services at First Citizens Bank, that is the really administrator. That's the advocate between the commercial bank and the T.H.A. And they are the ones that will contact us and talk about the drawdown. So we do have an account where both the T.H.A. and the First Citizens Bank are administrators of that account, and that's where the funds are for the guarantee.
Okay, thank you so much for bringing that information to us, that exciting information for businesses here on the island of Tobago. So if you are a small business, a registered business here on the island of Tobago, you operate here, you are domiciled here, this facility is being made available to you through the partnership with the Tobago House of Assembly and 3 main banks here in Tobago: Scotiabank, First Citizens Bank, and Republic Bank. So you can access it there. The program is being launched today. So, from today, you should be able to have the conversation to see how you can benefit from the facility that is being provided. We have to go for a short break, and when we come back, we continue conversations, but we switch gears a little bit, and so we want you to be a part of it. Remember, the phone lines will be open after we come back from the break, as we have that discussion that you want to be a part of. Ask your questions and get your answers right here in real time here on the morning show on Tobago Updates Television. But in the meantime, we go for a short break, and as we go, we invite you to help us share the live, share the live, share the live.